This is Tar Heel Talk, an in-depth look at the issues and people making news in North Carolina. Here's your host, Sonia Williams.
December 26th is the first day of Kwanzaa, a 7-day holiday born in part from African harvest traditions. Kwanzaa is designed to celebrate and foster unity among African Americans. And joining me now to tell us more about Kwanzaa and its rich history is Lester Thomas, president of the Ujima Group. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Williams.
Now, this year marks the 50th anniversary of Kwanzaa's inception. Tell us a little bit about the history of this holiday and how it all came about.
Well, Kwanzaa is a cultural arts celebration which focuses on family, community, and culture. And it was started by Dr. Maulana Karenga, who's a professor out of Long Beach, California. And Kwanzaa stands for First Fruits of the Harvest, and its origin is in Africa.
And the professor started this holiday to kind of, after the riots in California. Talk a little bit about that and how that evolved.
During the 60s was a very turbulent time in our American culture. African Americans were starting to find their history and starting to take pride in themselves, and different types of groups started to spring up to reinforce the positiveness of their desire to have a better life. And Kwanzaa was born out of that time. And it really focused on self-identity, being able to be proud of yourself, understanding the importance and the significance of family and culture, the importance of coming together, and understanding the goodness in our culture and in our community.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Karenga, he started this holiday because of the racial riots in the 60s in California, and that desire, ironically, that African Americans felt like they were being treated unfairly by police during that time.
That's very true, and I think this was a way for African Americans and people of color to have an outlet in a positive way, to be able to embrace the principles which exemplify the goodness of life, and to use that negative energy in a positive way to do things and to bring good into the world.
Absolutely. Let's talk about those 7 principles of Kwanzaa.
The 7 principles are called the Nguzo Saba. And the Nguzo Saba consists of unity, umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Ujima, collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our communities together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems, and to solve them together. Ujamaa, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit from them together. Nia, purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and development of our community in order to restore our people through their traditional greatness. Kumba, creativity, to do always as much as we can, in the way that we can, in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And most important of all, Imani, faith, to believe with all of our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle.
Wow, those 7 principles of Kwanzaa, very powerful when you're talking about, looking at uniting the community and really celebrating our culture as African Americans and celebrating our families.
And when you look back at our history, right after slavery, when we were freed in 1865, much of our community was about these principles, about working together, about helping each other. Because of segregation, integration was not in place then. So we knew that all we had was ourselves, that we had to build our own stores, that we had to understand the importance of cooperative economics, that we had to rely on our teachers and our community, because they were the ones that were going to educate us, because education at that time was illegal for black people to get an education in schools because they were segregated. And we had to understand the purpose, understanding that we had a goal, and our goal was freedom, and to be able to be fully represented as a United States citizen.
Absolutely. Very much a important and powerful part of our history and our heritage and our culture.
Yes, it is. And one of the reasons why I always enjoyed Kwanzaa all these years is because it's something that you can use throughout the year. It's not just a one-day or one-week event. It's something that you reflect on and see, how can I be a better person? And one of the ways, as an educator, that I feel that I could be a better person is to work with our young adults by mentoring, tutoring, volunteering my time and service, and to be able to make them have pride in themselves. And when we do that, when we actually give back, we're exemplifying the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of making our world a better world, and making our children, who are the next generation, better for us being here to help them.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break and we'll talk more in just a minute.
Okay.
We'll be back with more on Kwanzaa after these messages. December 26th marks the beginning of the 7-day holiday called Kwanzaa. The 22nd annual Kwanzaa celebration will take place on Thursday, December 29th at the Cary Arts Center from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And with us again to tell us more about this year's event is Lester Thomas with the Ujima Group. Now, we were talking about, before we talk about this year's major celebration in Cary, I think it's important for our viewers to first understand how we celebrate Kwanzaa. So give us some background on how this holiday is celebrated.
Well, there are 3 main concepts of Kwanzaa. One is the libation, and libation is pouring water in a vase to pay honor and tribute to our elders, for those who laid the path down which we walk. We pay tribute and honor them for their sacrifice. That's one component. The second component is the candle lighting. And the candle lighting is where we light each candle. There are 7 candles, 3 green, 3 red, and 1 black. The green represents the land, the red represents the blood of the people,
Right.
and the black represents their struggle. And we light those candles to bring the principles to life. And we have the children standing around and they see it and they feel it and they understand what it is. And then we have the final stage, which is the Harambee Circle. And Harambee means let's all pull together. And everyone in the auditorium gets up and they hold hands. And we say Harambee 5 times. And Harambee is significant. When the coal miners in Africa used to work in the coal mines and they were pulling heavy loads, they would all say, Harambee, Harambee, Harambee. That means let's pull this, please, because I'm tired. And you would hold your hands up like this and say, Harambee, Harambee. You do it 5 times and you hold it the longest that you can. And everyone hugs each other after that to bring and to show our connectiveness.
Okay. So what can people expect at this year's, this is a 22nd annual Kwanzaa celebration? What can people expect?
A great time. We have food vendors, we have arts and craft, we have 2 African dance groups. We're going to have a children village where they're going to be able to make masks and different types of bracelets and beads. We even have a gingerbread house, and we have folks that come from all over, busloads, the boys clubs, the Y, and then we're going to have storytelling. And the storytelling is going to consist of books that are positive books, and we embrace authors that come and bring their books, and we have celebrity authors who read their books to the crowd. So we have a nice big area, and busloads just keep coming in, and then you read the book, and kids are like listening to the story, and all of the stories are very significant in terms of they speak toward character and the principles that we have here, because we want our kids to understand what this event is about. And it's about us coming together. It's about us showing our love for each other. It's about showing commitment and re-energizing ourselves and feel good about the things that we're doing, and to try to continue to live the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles throughout the year, to help us be better people and to love one another in a way that will exemplify what we're trying to do here.
Right. This event will take place at the Cary Arts Center
Yes.
in the town of Cary. How has it evolved? I know 22 years is a long time, and I can imagine that it's grown year after year. Talk about the evolution of this celebration.
Kwanzaa started for me in North Carolina with a church called Mount Zion's Church and a group called the Raleigh Men's Council. And I remember when I asked the pastor of the church, I said, I want to do a Kwanzaa here. He said, is it a cult? Is it anti-white? Is it a gang? I said, no. He said, then let's do it. Okay. As long as it wasn't negative. And we had one of the best events that I could imagine. He sponsored all of the food and the outfits, and I have some pictures that I'm going to get to you someday. And it was just beautiful. And from there, it constantly grew, because we started at the Herb Young Community Center with 1 room. We had 1 room. And now we have the whole building of the Cary Arts Center. And we have all floors, and it goes from 10 in the morning all the way to 5 at night. And we have groups coming in from all over. And it's just a wonderful event to see how it has grown over the years and how it's been embraced, and the diversity of the people and the cultures. We have folks from India, we have folks from Africa, we have Native American folks that have participated. Vendors come from all over the East Coast and Mid-Atlantic. And I'm just happy to see that it has evolved over the years, and that people really understand what we're trying to do. And we have good people who want to network and talk about the things that they're doing and just be able to make a contribution to the positiveness of our community.
Certainly an educational opportunity for our young people, but also some of our adults as well.
Of course, and one of the things we try to do, as an educator, I always try to do, is to educate. Because sometimes there is misinformation, and you have to be really diplomatic when you're trying to educate folks, because it's a lot of misconceptions about information that's out there. And when you understand the truth, and I give people books, and we talk and we communicate, and sometimes they say, oh, I never thought it was like this. And this is my first time here, and my whole perception and perspective of what Kwanzaa is has changed, and that's good. And that's what we want people to do, to step outside of their box. Don't be afraid to embrace something that's different or may not be like you, because that's how you learn, and that's what life is about. Go to different festivals, go to different activities, visit people that don't look like you, so that you're able to come together and say, hey, my perception is not reality. And the only way we're going to break down those walls of bigotry and hatred is to get to know one another.
Right. And it's important to note, too, that Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday.
Yes.
And you were talking a little bit about some of the things that it's not, so that people can understand what it is.
And it's not a political movement as well. It's a celebration of community and culture. And when folks understand that, and they come and they see it for the first time, they really get to understand what we're trying to do. And they start to enjoy it, and they want to come back every year.
Right. Looks like the students are having a great time there with one of the facilitators. So you're working with people of various backgrounds, and I think that's something that should be celebrated, because we're all being educated about various cultures around the world.
And I'm happy about that, because when people come together at a very early age, especially our children, they can make a difference. And it breaks down a lot of the stereotypes and the bigotry that we do have, And kids are not really like that. They're taught that. And if you teach them love and respect for each other and one another, they will embrace that because they know that we're all the same and there's nothing different about us. We may think about things in different ways, but deep down inside, we're all one. We're all God's children.
And again, this event is going to take place on December 29th. Starts at 11 and goes until 4 at the Cary Arts Center. And people can certainly find out more information by going to the Town of Cary's website, townofcary.org, or calling 919-460-4963. We're going to take another break and we'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away. Tar Heel Talk will continue after these messages. Welcome back to Tar Heel Talk. I'm Sonia Williams. Today's show focuses on Kwanzaa, the 7-day holiday born in part from African harvest traditions. Kwanzaa is designed to celebrate and foster unity among African Americans. And with us again is Lester Thomas, president of the Ujima Group. Thank you again for being with us. You have been certainly educating us about this holiday that really was born out of celebrating culture for African Americans, but really can celebrate all cultures.
Absolutely. And as you see how Kwanzaa has grown throughout the world, it's celebrated in Asia, Africa, China, Japan, South America, Puerto Rico. And you see that the principles are so universal that people want to be able to bring good into the world by showing love, and unity is a very important principle because we want to be united. With some of the political challenges that we've had this year, the country wants to come together. We just have to find ways to talk to each other and to be able to respect each other.
Right. And Kwanzaa can definitely give a roadmap for that. Let's talk about those 7 principles again.
Okay. We have Umoja, which is unity. Kujichagulia, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kumba, creativity. Imani, faith. And I was talking to a gentleman the other day about the principle of collective work and responsibility. And he brought it down to a real level with children, teaching kids how to have chores, where you clean your bed, and take out the garbage, and wash the dishes. That's where responsibility works, at the beginning, in your home. And many of these principles have to be incorporated in the family, because that's the foundation of our community. Because once the family breaks down, our community breaks down. And we have some challenges today, and we want to restore our communities to their traditional greatness. Years ago, during segregation, many of African American communities throughout the country were thriving because they understood the importance of working together, because they had very few resources, and they had their own shops, their own barber shops, their own grocery stores, their own businesses. How do we get back to that? What do we need to do? We need to work together. We need to recycle our dollars so that they stay within our community. So often our money only passes our hands twice, where in other communities it's 7 or 8 times. And when I look at Black Friday, how so many people were out there at 12 midnight buying all types of items, how do we recycle dollars within our community so that we can build our community up and understand that recycling our dollars creates jobs for people in our community? It allows us to buy dishwashers, it allows us to buy homes, cars, and that's how our community works. Being able to put our money back into our community and be able to bring ourselves back to where we know we should be.
To be able to thrive and to prosper. Each day, of Kwanzaa, we celebrate a particular principle, the 7 that you went through. So if a family is new to celebrating Kwanzaa, can you kind of walk us through what that might look like, that celebration as a family?
That's a great question. You have your Kinara set up in a place that you would walk past it or would see it, whether it could be on a kitchen, it could be on in the dining room, and the candles are not lit. But the first day of Kwanzaa, you want to bring your family together, and you want to talk about the principle, and how can we exemplify and integrate those principles in our daily life. And then you light the first candle, and then you reflect on how and what does it mean. And then the second day, you have the next principle, and then you light the 2 principles, Ujima, Kujichagulia, and you speak about that. And at the end of the 7 days, when you went through each of those principles, then you sit down and reflect. So it's a time for your family can come together, whether it's a mother, father, sister, brother, whether it's just mother, father. Families are changing, and the dynamics of families are changing. But the closeness and the unity should be always there, and the love and the compassion for one another. So this gives us a time to see how can we become closer? What do we need to do? Sometimes families are so on the go that they never have time to sit down.
Right.
Everyone's grabbing something from McDonald's or Burger King and fast food, and no one is sitting down to make a meal and sit down and ask, how was your day? What did you learn today? How do you feel today? And really care about how a person feels.
Right. And so this time of Kwanzaa celebration is a time for reflection, a time for the family to come together and have those conversations.
Absolutely.
Let's talk again about the 22nd annual Kwanzaa celebration that's coming up on December 29th in Cary.
Well, we've been very blessed over the years to have so many great people that have come to our event. We had Dr. Malana Karinga came himself, and that was a big deal. Reverend Barber has come. We had Val Atkinson, Dr. Naeem Akbar. We've had Miss Margaret Rosemary. She has a store called Vital Link. So we've had folks from academia, from TV, from education, because they support and understand what we're trying to do.
Right.
And when the community embraces what you're doing, there's always going to be strong support. And each year it grows, and people develop those types of skills where they want to have Ujamaa, cooperative economics. How can we work together? How can we have some type of joint venture that's going to bring jobs or going to bring wealth within our community? So people start to reflect on those principles and start to realize, what can I do to make those principles work and to be effective in our everyday lives? So it's great that it has grown over the years, and the types of people that come to these types of events understand that I'm going to meet someone who is very engaging, someone who's really about making a difference, that's about making a change, and someone that really understands what Kwanzaa is about and how can we come together.
And I understand that there will be phenomenal entertainment on tap for this year's event.
Yes, we have a group called Alegba, and they're out of Alegba Folklore Society, and they've been around for a very long time, and they're in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and they are at the top echelon of dancers and performers, and we have been extremely blessed to have the type of entertainment that we have over the years. And I always try to find the best of our community because it exemplifies who we are. And mediocrity is not an option. So when during the year, I'm looking for who do I want to come to the Kwanzaa? Who do I want to perform? Who do I want to be a part of this? Because as people observe what we do and how we do it, That's their perception of who we are. And I want to always put our best foot forward so that the world can see, hey, this is good.
Absolutely. And this year's event, I'm sure, will be better than the previous. And we certainly are looking forward to that again. It's on December 29th, and people can find out more information by going to townofcary.org. And it is from 11 to 5. Lester Thomas, thank you so much for the work you're doing in the community, and thanks for being a guest today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Okay. That's it for this week's Tar Heel Talk. I'm Sonia Williams. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful holiday season.